It's the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, and we still have a lot of discrepancies as far as the origins of hip-hop, a lot of claims, who did what, who was the first. But at the end of the day, we need a definitive story, all right? And that story can only be told by the founders of this culture.
Like everything was being driven and influenced by young, black, American culture.
The roots of hip-hop being Jamaican, absolutely false.
And that narrative that hip-hop has had 3 founding fathers, which isn't true. Hip-hop was created by a number of different people.
I am Cope LaRock, the first MC of hip-hop, the first cat to pick the mic up.
I introduced rapping to the turntable because when I came with it, nobody in the world was doing it.
My name is legendary King Trixie. So I am the first break dancer.
I am the grandfather, the godfather of the graffiti culture. I am the first element of hip-hop.
My name is MC Sha-Rock. I am a founding member of the MC/rap culture.
They want to come in the mix, they want to say, we started. No, you didn't. What came to be known as hip-hop was solely an African-American creation.
If they get the real truth of how it all was created, then so many lies would not be able to be in existence.
All right, let's get the general. Let's get the general in here. What's up, General? Copy in, my guy.
Hey, Tariq, what's going on, man? I've tuned in many times and listened to you and respect your opinion quite a bit. And I've never come up and spoke, but you know, I there's a couple things that kind of hit on my heart. You know, listening, to things. I'm a avid supporter of reparations. I've been involved in a lot of BA spaces and has some amazing conversations with different. Black spaces and so forth. Wouldn't always welcome at first, but, eventually they got to know me and know who I was. And, there's a few things about, the reparations and everything that's happening. The destruction of the country is occurring at this time. There's some things that are weighing heavy on a lot of Americans' hearts and a lot of people that live here that see things that are coming. There's a financial destruction that's occurring. There's bubbles that are about to pop with the housing market, the automobile industry. We have inflation that's rising to ridiculous places. I mean, we're reaching a point of kind of no return in this country, and not just for one community, but for all of us. And we're being led into a place. That's a place of desperation in this country, and we're all being led there. And I've fought for the J6ers for the last couple of years, and I've always been an advocate for prison reform. I've paid attention. I've known a lot about the aspects of the prison industrial complex. I know about the bill that Biden put through that it completely attacked the black community. All these things that I'm aware of, they come to a point now at this time in history in America where we have to make a decision of stepping away from politics and looking at reality. And, I look towards a lot of elders, for wisdom and knowledge and a lot of things. And the wisdom that I've gotten from elders and the knowledge that I've gotten from elders is not enough reality and truth is being spoken about the things that are going on, the reality of the now, so to speak. We went through COVID together. COVID was a nightmare that we all went through together. The oppression, the authoritarian mentality, the you do this or you're not in our club or you're not, welcome in society, or look like this with this mask on your face, or we're not going to accept you into this place. All these kind of mentalities, we've kind of reverted back to a very hateful kind of mentality in different ways. Politically, we're at a place in this country where there is no understanding. There is no reality being spoken about. And, the reparations, aspect of it can't happen unless there's success in this country. We look at Social Security. It's $800, $900, $1,000 that's being given out, to these elderly people, that have spent their whole lives paying into this. And these people come in from these other countries and they're getting $1,500 to $2,000 in free rent and all these kind of, backwards stuff. So we got a lot of things that are going backwards in this country that have to be addressed and corrected. And, reparations is one of them,
Right.
It's an aspect that has to be addressed. It has to be understood by the masses that when you start a monopoly game, okay, and the other player starts with $5,000 more in their account, it's not a fair game, right?
Right.
And that's
Now, hold on. Now, so let's slow down. Now, how do you see, in your worldview, reparations being distributed to foundational Black Americans? How do you see?
well, it can't be distributed at all. If we have a complete failure in financial, aspects, and we have no capability of doing that, then it's not ever going to happen.
But then, how do you support reparations? And you don't support it. You said you supported it, but you don't.
Well, no, I do support it. The thing is that we have to step up and check reality right now in this country.
But no, you can't. No, sir. You can't say you support it and then say it's never going to happen. That means you don't support it.
It cannot happen unless this country digs out of the hole that is about to occur. The devastation that's about to happen to this place will never allow that to even financially happen.
No, see, that's the thing. When it comes to us getting our just due, a debt that's owed, all of a sudden it's going to be a catastrophe and the world is ending. When they're giving money to some of these illegal immigrants, the world didn't end. When they're giving money to some of the red Native American tribes, the world didn't end. When they gave money to the Japanese, the world didn't end. When the U.S. government gives money to Israel and Ukraine, the world doesn't end.
We've never been in the financial situation that we're in, Tariq. That's what I'm trying to explain. We've never been in a automotive and housing market bubble that's about to pop, and an inflationary situation the way this country is in right now. We've never been in this situation, and people don't even understand that we're in it.
That's why we need to give reparations to foundational Black Americans so that we can stimulate the economy. That's going to save the economy, because we're going to stimulate it with those reparations dollars, sir.
So if we have 4 more years of this situation that we're in, we're going to have 15 million more illegal immigrants that we're going to be paying out another $1,500 to $2,000 in cash to their pockets and giving them free housing. And we're looking at that point, we're looking at 30 million, basically people that have taken over every aspect of what you're talking about would be reparations. You see what I'm saying?
That's not reparations. Giving money to illegal immigrants, that's not reparations.
No, what I'm saying is that
what
15
I'm saying,
million more.
Because I don't want to talk in circles. We just close the border, give us our reparations check so that we can stimulate the economy, and everybody will live great. Everybody will benefit from the stimulated economy. It's going to be a wonderful thing if foundational Black Americans get reparations. The world is not going to end. The money will be spent here in the United States. We're not going to send it to the Ukraine and to Mexico and to all of these other places.
Right.
And we have so much ingenuity. We're going to be very creative with it. We're going to start businesses. That's going to really get this economy popping. And also, it's going to be a good look internationally so that the international community will want to do more trade and more good business, because they're going to see the United States they're acting in good faith and not being hypocrites. So this is going to be a great thing globally. Reparations to foundational Black Americans, right?
What I'm saying is that if the continual bleed happens in this country, if the continual bleed out continues to occur and it increases, there is no capability for that to end up happening.
Yes, it is. It is, sir. Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, we're still giving money to foreign nations every day, billions of dollars, and we didn't bleed out. That money could have been going to us right now, and everything would be great.
Right, and I agree. I think that every single dime that went to Ukraine should have went to the Black communities and reparations, and should have infused the entire community to lift that up and create the opportunity that's been needed to be created within the Black Americans in this country. But the reality is that the tank is dry. We're
It's
broke.
not.
We're done. This country is tanked. It's tapped out. The credit cards are maxed. Our
Listen,
national debt is at a ridiculous level. We can't even pay the interest now.
that's
Okay,
why we
every year.
got reparations going right away. We got to get it going to save it, man. We got to get it going.
What
That's
I'm
going to
saying is that there is an answer to this, but there's more to it than just delving out what we don't have. You cannot
is
squeeze lemon out of a squeezed lemon already. Lemonade.
got it. They got it out of us during slavery. Oh, they squeezed the hell out of us. Oh, they got it, and that created all the wealth that's being thrown around today that's maldistributed and locking us out of. So yeah, they can squeeze something. It was squeezed out of us. Let's squeeze it back. By the way, Mr. General, question: do you think George Floyd died of fentanyl?
I believe it was a combination. It was a
There we
combination
go.
of everything that occurred. If you want to get into it, I believe that the inaction of the police officer from what he did inevitably ended up in the death of that man. Yes. Was he an angel? No. Okay. But the man was definitely not an angel, and he wasn't.
But fentanyl, he had a fentanyl attack at the same time. He was
Did he
getting
have? What was it found that he had fentanyl in his body? Was that an actual in the autopsy report?
Was he overdosing at the same time he was being choked to death?
From the autopsy results, it says that there was fentanyl in his body. So
Right.
evidently there was drugs in his system. Now, do I think that the officer could have saved his life and he didn't, and he's responsible for the death of George Floyd? Yes, absolutely.
So wait. Do you think he killed George Floyd?
With his knee on his neck? No.
Yeah.
With his inaction to get him the medical attention that he needed? Yeah.
Okay, so him choking him with his knee, that didn't kill him?
Okay, first off, I was almost killed by San Antonio police officers during COVID. I was the veteran that was arrested for not wearing a mask in the mall at the North Star Mall. You can look it up. It's all over the place. Went viral. You can literally see on the video, if you look it up, you can see that these police officers have their knees in my back and I'm not able to breathe. And I scream that I cannot breathe. Okay, so I can completely relate to the fact that what the actions of the police officer definitely had something to do with his death. Okay. I mean, was it the absolute cause?
Murder. It was murder. He murdered him, right?
The knee in the neck was not the absolute cause. The inaction of him to get the medical attention for George Floyd when he requested it in the full video, if you watch it, he's saying, "I'm in trouble. I need help." Instead of helping him, they ended up treating him the way they did, and that inevitably caused the death of George Floyd. If they would have got him Narcan, if they would have got him the proper medication, they would have got him an immediate medical, staff, that was probably not too far away, he probably would be alive right now.
Well, if he didn't get killed, he would be alive. He got killed. He put his knee in the back of his neck and killed him, and we all saw it.
Yeah, like I said, it's a combination of things that happened, but the medical neglect, the neglect of getting a medical attention to George Floyd is what ended up happening, causing his death.
Right, it was murder. He got murdered. We saw it. We saw it. We saw it. We saw a man get murdered. Millions of people saw a guy just sat there, got murdered, brother.
I mean, it happens. It happens often.
Also,
it absolutely happens often. Yes.
When Eric Garner got choked to death, they said he really had a heart attack because he was too fat.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's that too.
No, and that's the aspect of where the knees were on my back, and you can hear me, and I'd love to share the video with you, but Twitter won't allow me because they blocked my video from being seen on Twitter when it happened.
But that's the thing, this whole thing where black people are getting murdered, and then people in the dominant society are saying they're having some kind of other medical emergency at the same time they're getting murdered, and then they blame some weird medical emergency. What are the odds?
They did that with Roseanne Boylan. They claimed that Roseanne Boylan had
odds of that. What are the odds of that black people are having heart attacks and having fentanyl overdoses the minute they're getting choked and killed by a suspected white supremacist?
Yeah, they did the same with Roseanne Boylan on January 6th. They claimed that she overdosed on drugs, and they kept her body until they could destroy the evidence and have anybody do a secondary examination of her, when in reality she was beaten to death there on January 6th, and she was absolutely not on drugs, but they claim that she died of a drug overdose. So, I mean, like I'm saying, this is not an isolated incident. Authorities always cover up their misdoings and their.
Or they just do I'm white, not say so. Yeah, that's just I'm white, not say so. When we're seeing what's going on and they say that it's an overdose and we see you killing them, that's I'm white, not say so. And
Right,
luckily,
just like Roseanne was beaten to death. I mean, you can see it on video. She was beaten to death and suffocated and trampled on and by the police officers, and then they claim that she died from an overdose. And she was white. She wasn't black. I mean, these incidents are not an isolated type of thing. This is a authoritarian type of situation that we have. Like I'm talking about. In San Antonio with my arrest, with what they did with me, I just didn't conform to or agree with what they were, trying to put out as the societal norm.
Let me get Marcel. Brother Marcel has his hand up. Then I'm gonna get Ishmael. Brother Marcel,
All right,
he's like, hold on, General. Hold on.
Okay. I'm hanging.
Marcel, go ahead.
Hey, Tariq, yeah, I just want to come up here and dispel some lies. I really hate when people, especially white people, say this country's never been in
I'm
a
not
dark
white, by the way. Okay, so not white.
Whatever ethnicity you are, I really hate when people, especially white people, I didn't say you were white, come up here and say that this country's never been in its darkest period when we literally had chattel slavery, Jim Crow, lynch mob, and racial massacres. That's disrespectful to foundational Black American history. Number two, we need to dispel this myth right now because even Donald Trump acknowledged America can afford to pay for any debt that it has. America can never default on any debt. Number three, the deficit and debt thing is a myth. America can cancel that and America monetizes that. Right now, as we speak, America canceled hundreds of billions of dollars in student loan debt. Right now, as we speak, America canceled trillions of dollars in PP loan debt. And when America has canceled trillions of dollars in war debt. And as you very mentioned, Tariq, America is not limited at all when it comes to spending. The only thing they have to account for is inflation. Roosevelt, the general, you said this country's never been in the lowest point. Excuse me, sir. We had a Great Depression. And during the Great Depression, Roosevelt spent, in today's value, trillions of dollars when Americans were largely homeless and jobless, and yet the government was still able to generate trillions of dollars to make jobs, to fund projects. So America can cancel that, America can monetize that, and we ain't forgiving ours, and they need to pay up. Thank you, and I land. Goodbye, Tariq.
Thank you so much, my brother. Now, General, real quick, General, you say you're not white. What are you, General?
I'm a mutt. I'm a proud mutt. I'm a mix of many things. I have my 4 times great grandfather was Moses Marley Harmon. Made some incredible breakthroughs in Arkansas. There's actually a river named after him. Married to a white woman.
Where's he? Now, where's Moses Harley from?
Moses Marley Harmon. I believe he was from Jamaica. He was black, but he was from Jamaica. My other part of my ancestry comes from Blackfoot Indian, Native American. So I have a predominantly Native American kind of look. I've got the Moses Marley hair. I'm a mutt. I'm a proud mutt, and I don't necessarily fit into any kind of genre or anything like that at all. But yeah, I've got Russian. I've got German. I've got a very different kind of mix of blood in me, kind of a different look. So, proud to be a mutt though.
Okay, but you're classified as white. Yeah, you say all that to say
the government says I'm white. If you want to go along with the government, then you can say that.
White.
Yeah,
you're white. And a lot of white people.
Well, then you're agreeing with the government. Then, if you agree with the government on
you, what you're saying. I can almost guarantee you classify yourself as white. I can almost guarantee it.
Actually, I grew up in the Black Hood of North Texas and Southwest Fort Worth, and I spent most of my days along the Black community. So I don't know if I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter where you came from or where you grew up or to you. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that does.
I can, you still classify yourself as white, and that's okay. That's okay.
That's okay. And the black community didn't call me white, but that's okay.
Right.
You can.
Yeah,
You can feel
and,
free to do that.
and
You can agree with the
I'm,
government on that.
okay. But yeah. People, you classify yourself as white. That's what. Let's get
No, I
Ishmael.
don't classify myself as white.
I can
You
almost
do,
guarantee
and the government does. So.
on your paperwork, you're white on your paperwork, right?
What is that? I explained to you that I'm a mutt, that I'm mixed with very many things. That doesn't matter to you at
But
all?
it's on the census form, sir. They don't have mud. All
Because
right.
the paperwork says I'm white, then I am. That's what you're saying. Okay,
Right.
that's your point. That's a terrible point, Tariq. But okay, I got you.
All right, but facts are facts. You write down white, not that the government. You write that.
I don't
Government
write that down.
right.
No, I don't.
You could write down hell. I'm Blackfoot Indian. You could write Native American. You choose to write white, sir. All right.
No, I mean,
We're gonna get Ishmael.
you can say
Ishmael.
that. Yeah. Sure.
Hey, beloved.
Greetings to you, peace to you, Brother Tariq. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to speak on the George Floyd thing. So I want to talk about Dr. Andrew Baker, who ruled George Floyd's death a homicide, and he was very clear. And if we go through, factcheck.org, if we go through NBC News, if we go through USA Today, AP News, the New York Times, and so on and so forth, he was very clear. And he said, and I quote, "My opinion remains unchanged. It's what I put on the death certificate last June. George Floyd's death was a homicide." And Dr. Andrew Baker, who's been the chief medical examiner in Hennepin County since 2004, and also has an extensive career in Reno, Nevada, as well as Salt Lake City, was very clear about what he found. In fact, he even said, "I waited to look at the video or any of the video information that was given and submitted until after his findings that his death was absolutely a homicide." And he was very clear about that. He said, "In this case, I believe that the primary mechanism of death was asphyxia or low oxygen. Kneeling on someone's neck, okay, for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, right? No matter who you are, whether you have optimal breathing or not, is going to cause some effects. It's going to restrict the oxygen flow to the brain. It's also going to restrict the oxygen flow to the blood tissues, to the circulation, and so on and so forth." And so when we're talking about George Floyd, the reality is that he was murdered, right? And that is what the findings will show. And anyone trying to contest that in the sense that, oh, the officer could have provided aid or failed to provide aid, and that was the error, that was not actually the error. The error was kneeling on someone's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds while they begged for their mother, while they begged for the ancestors, while they begged for all that is holy and righteous, for you to stop. And for the other three officers to stand there and watch this happening is a problem. The other aspect to this is that this country has a due process, right? It's jury, it's jury, executioner, prosecution, and so on and so forth. And so essentially, there's a process, right? So if
Right.
somebody commits a crime, if somebody does something wrong, right, there is a process that we follow in this country because we are a first world country, but also because we have a construct and a structure to this country and how we deal with criminal behavior or how we deal with anything um, that is adjacent to that behavior. And that means that if you commit a crime, that means that you are owed and entitled to that due process. George Floyd was not given that due process, right? He was met with judge, jury, and executioner in those 9 minutes and 29 seconds by somebody who was not qualified to actually execute the sentence. So, for anyone continuing with this lie, when we have someone who is actually white saying that this was a homicide, who has 37 years of professional accolades to show that this was a homicide, it's just negligence, intellectual negligence, and ignorance on the part of the people who continue with this lie that this man was not murdered. The other thing that I want to say, and then I'll land with this, You mentioned Moses Marley, or as he was called, Mose Harmon Sr., born April 17th, 1845 in Monroe County, Tennessee, was a white man, right? He was aesthetically a white man. Okay, you can look it up for yourself. I'm happy to leave the links in the chat. In fact, I will. And so when we talk about the aesthetic of white America and who's classified as white and who's classified as white in correlation to privilege, you are white, sir. And that correlates and coincides with a particular level of privilege.
Yeah,
And
that's called
also
race.
a
That's
particular, and
what
also
that
I
really
didn't
is
interrupt you,
genuinely.
so don't interrupt me, right? So yeah, I stayed on mic, and there were plenty of things that you said that I didn't agree with, and also just weren't factually true. So just stay on your mic, be humble, sit down. But what I'm saying is that when you are aesthetically white or able to pass in this country as white or classify yourself as white, you are able to have access and attributes that allow you a privilege in correlation and proximity to whiteness, which allows you to be able to be delusional about truths, specifically when we talk about the truth of George Floyd. And you have that
Yeah,
privilege,
I've got the
right?
truth
For
right
the
here.
rest of us, we don't have that. So when we talk about George Floyd, just make sure that you tell truths, all right, and dispel myths, okay? Because the reality is that George Floyd was murdered, okay? And I, as a person who grew up in the city where that man was murdered, I don't appreciate people continuing, 3 and 4 years later, to continue on with this lie that he was not murdered. He was murdered. And in this country, and really in the world, and essentially in the construct of morality and ethics, it is not okay to murder someone because you don't agree with their life choices. It is not okay to murder someone because you don't like them. It is not okay to murder someone because they're black. And so do fucking better. And that
Yeah,
is
it
what I
happens every
say
day.
to each and every person, not just on this stage, but in this room. Because if you don't understand that, you are a part of the problem. Thank you for letting me speak. Peace and blessings to you all.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to rebut that if you don't mind, Tariq.
Go ahead.
I've got the memorandum that was filed by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office on June 1st indicated that the chief medical examiner, Dr. Andrew Baker, who listed Floyd's death as a homicide, thought the amount of fentanyl in Floyd's blood was pretty high and could be of a fatal level of fentanyl under normal circumstances. Dr. Baker said that if Mr. Floyd had been found dead in his home or anywhere else, and there were no other contributing factors, he would conclude that it was an overdose death, the memo says. That's the actual medical examiner.
But that's not saying it was an overdose, though. That's not saying it was an overdose. Okay.
What he's explaining is that it was absolutely a contributing factor to what ended up happening.
No, it's not. He got murdered. It was a homicide. That's why he said
It was
a homicide.
That's what he called it. Yeah, and he said it was a homicide, and it was because the end result of the neglect and not handling the situation
No, it
ended
wasn't
up
neglect.
correctly
No, it
ended
was
up causing.
it wasn't neglect. It was proactive murder. He murdered him. He put his knee on his neck for an extended period of time and killed him. So that wasn't neglect.
Number one, George Floyd asked for help. He said he was in trouble and needed medical attention, and the cop didn't give it to him. Instead, he took the actions that he took.
Right, he killed him.
He killed him. Yes, absolutely. He was definitely responsible for the death of George Floyd.
Right.
It happens all the time. It happened on January 6th. Like I said, it happens in so many different in different ways. I'm absolutely anti authority when it comes to police officers not conducting themselves in the correct manners.
See, here's the thing, because are you one of those guys who think that Kyle Rittenhouse killed people in self-defense? Do you believe that too?
I know that he shot a child molester and killed another convicted pedophile.
And did he do that in defense?
I absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I carry a gun on a daily basis in Texas. If you try to attack me, anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, I will put a bullet to their head.
Okay.
That's the way it ends.
So
that's the end of the story.
Okay, with what you just said, because you're a January 6th proponent, do you believe that Ashley Babbitt got what she was supposed to get?
Absolutely not. She punched the man that broke the window. She was upset. See, this is the thing that you don't understand about the whole story about that. And you don't want to hear it, Tariq. Nobody wants to hear it because they want to say, "Oh, she deserved it," right?
Really?
Because
okay,
she punched
you
the man.
just said, okay, if somebody's trying to come at you, you're gonna put a bullet in them. That's what Ashley Babbitt was with a crowd of people coming
you're
after an
literally
officer who was
you're
yelling,
literally
"Stop!"
not wanting to hear the whole aspect of what happened when I know the facts of the scenario,
let's
and
hear
I
it.
can show you the video of her punching the man that broke the window and was upset with that man breaking the window in the first place. After she punched the man, she had to escape the situation, and the only escape was to go through that window because there was no other exit outside of that point after she had punched the man that broke the window.
That officer was yelling, "Get back, get back,
He didn't
get
say a
back."
damn. He didn't say a
Yes, he
goddamn
did.
thing.
Yes,
He
he
didn't say a
did.
motherfucking
Yes, he
goddamn thing,
did. Yes,
Tariq,
he
and that's
did.
a fucking goddamn lie.
Yes,
What
he
you're saying
did.
right now?
That
You're
man
a
was
goddamn
yelling,
liar
"Get
if you
back."
continue with that shit. I'm at least willing to look at the facts about George Floyd and admit that this guy killed him. You're saying
That
you're backing up
officer
the guy
yelled,
and
"Get
saying shit
back!"
that isn't even
and
fucking true about the situation.
she was coming at that officer with a crowd of damn rioters, and he did what you said you would do: put a bullet
She
in.
led all them rioters to that fucking place, and she was running the show that
He
day, and
was.
she deserved to be fucking murdered by a cop. See, that's the
That's your logic.
two-faced hypocritical
That's your
fucking
logic.
mentality
You the
that I
one
keep
who
on hearing through all of this.
sir, you're the one who just justified Kyle Rittenhouse, and you said if somebody's coming at you, you're gonna put a bullet in them. But when it's a white woman coming after a black cop, oh no, it's something else. So what are you talking about?
An unarmed white woman, you're gonna shoot an unarmed fucking white woman coming to attack you
Yeah,
that she didn't
unarmed
even know was there with the gun, and you
who was
claim that
coming,
she
who was coming with a crowd of people with her, storming the Capitol, and the cop is yelling, "Get back!" According
no
to
man.
your logic, you said if you would put a bullet in their head.
No, you're mixed matching shit, and that's
No,
pretty messed up, man. That's
no,
really screwy that you want to mix match something
no.
from a whole different,
And
completely different
also
state,
with
different scenario.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy who was running after Kyle Rittenhouse had a skateboard. He didn't have
Horrible correlation. Your debate sucks. You failed. How about that?
No. Kyle Rittenhouse shot an unarmed person and killed him, and you thought that was cool?
No, your point is horrible. It makes no sense
No, sir.
whatsoever. Tariq.
I'm using your logic.
Zero. None. Your logic has failed completely. It's absolutely
Your logic
horrible.
changes based on race, sir.
No, your logic takes something that has nothing to do with another
You were perfectly
situation,
fine.
and
No,
you
no, no.
correlate.
You were perfectly fine with Kyle Rittenhouse shooting an unarmed person. Yep, that mother effer deserved it. But when Ashley Babbitt was doing something she wasn't supposed to do, oh no, she was poor unarmed white woman. Oh God, she was there to bake cookies. What are you talking about? She was trying to escape. She was. They dragged her. What logic is this, dude? She was trying to escape.
You correlate a riot, okay, that happened in Wisconsin
Listen, I
to
gotta hear
something
this.
that
Wait,
happened on a
no, wait.
completely
You're
different
saying,
day at
listen,
the
hold on, wait.
capital of the United
You
States in
said
a
that
whole different
Ashley
scenario.
Babbitt was trying to escape.
Your correlation is ridiculous. I mean, you should look in the mirror at what you just said and realize that what you said is absolute asinine.
So
it has nothing to do with the other. Nothing.
So
Rittenhouse and Ashley Babbitt have nothing, no correlation
breaking
whatsoever.
windows, trying to storm the Capitol. You're saying
Ashley didn't break the window. I explained that to you, but you don't want to listen.
She was trying to escape. She was trying to leave the building. That's what you're saying.
She punched the man that broke the window because she was upset with him attacking and breaking the window.
Oh, she was upset with them for rioting, but she joined the rioters.
She didn't join the rioting. She hit no police officer. The video that shows her walking up to the cops that were at that door was with Taylor Hanson that I met personally. They offered the police officers water and talked to them in a polite way.
So they wanted to have a friendly meeting. So they were breaking indoors to offer water and cookies. Okay.
Just water, because they weren't there to attack the police officers whatsoever. See, you don't want to look at the truth. I'm willing to look at the truth in this situation that you're bringing up. You want to skew the fucking truth.
You're the one who said if somebody's coming at you, I'm putting a bullet in them.
Absolutely, and you're damn right. You're damn right. I am an armed Texan, and if I'm attacked physically, I will put a bullet in.
And that's what Officer Byrd did to Ashley Babbitt's ass. That's what Officer Byrd used your logic.
Bullshit, Tariq. You're full of shit, man. And this
Officer
is the last.
Bird,
I'll
use
be
your
honest with you,
logic,
dude.
sir.
You know,
Officer
I
Bird
never
thinks
saw
like
this
you.
coming out of your.
So you agree with Officer Bird. Officer Bird did what you would do and what Kyle Rittenhouse did. So Officer Bird is a hero too, right?
Bullshit. Bullshit. Is that what you think?
Why is he
Call
not a
Officer Bird a
hero?
hero right
If
now.
Kyle
If you
is a
think Bird's
hero,
a hero,
no. If
call him a hero.
Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero, why isn't Officer Bird one too?
Call Bird a hero if you think he's a hero. Call
He's
him
a
a hero right
hero.
now.
He said
You
he
think Bird's a hero?
protected the Capitol. Yes, he's a hero.
Okay, well, let me explain something to you. You are for the murder of unarmed fucking women.
Aren't you for that too, of unarmed people? You just justified Kyle Rittenhouse, sir. Come on.
Just because she's a white woman, you're okay with the murder of
And
her.
just
That's all.
because
That say it,
Kyle
man. Say
Rittenhouse
that
was
you're
a white supremacist, throwing up white supremacist hand signs,
unarmed
that's why you're
American women
co-signing
are
him?
able to murder American women. If they're white, it's all good. Go for it. That's what you're saying.
I
Cops are
mean,
fucking.
where is all this energy for Breonna Taylor? She was unarmed and they murdered her. So where's all this energy for that?
Not the same fucking deal. Now you're mixed
Why not?
matching
Why
bullshit
not? Why
again.
not?
You're
Why
a
not?
horrible debater, man. Your
How
your
so?
logic
How is
and
that
your
not the
points are
same?
fucking
No.
horrible.
How is that
You've
not the
lost
same?
every debate with me.
How
So
is
since
that not
we
the
started,
same?
Tariq,
How
it's
is that
terrible.
not the same? How is
The
Breonna
only thing
Taylor
you
not
have
the
is
same?
the mute button to stop me from
How is
stepping over your
Breonna
bullshit.
Taylor not the same?
Breonna Taylor was a horrible situation, and it's not the same scenario situation that Ashley Babbitt was in.
Yeah, it was an unarmed woman getting killed by race soldiers,
And I'm not okay with that. And the cop that shot Breonna Taylor isn't a hero. See, I'm not a son of a bitch like you. I'm willing to look at the truth and the facts and call a duck a duck. But you want to call this motherfucker that murdered an innocent American woman,
he wasn't
okay,
innocent. She was
unarmed
committing a
American
crime.
woman, and you want to say he's a fucking
Committing a
hero?
crime.
That's sick, dude. You're a
She
sick
was
motherfucker if you think.
No. She was committing a crime. Storming the Capitol is a crime, sir. That's not legal. And especially when an officer is giving a lawful order to get back, he was yelling, "Get back, get back."
He
He
made
said,
no such fucking order.
yes, he did.
And
His voice was hoarse because he was yelling, "Get back," and she wouldn't get back.
negative. That's a lie. You're speaking
That's not a
lies.
lie.
You're backing up a black man that murdered a white American woman because you're
I'm
playing
talking
race
about
politics right now.
an officer who produced justice. I'm not. This isn't about race to me, sir. You're making it about race. This was an officer who produced justice. See, you're the one who got the racial hypocrisy. It's okay for Kyle Rittenhouse to gun folks down, but when the black officer is producing justice, somebody's trying to storm the Capitol, and
Ashley Babbitt didn't lay a hand on.
weapons and bats and swords and knives and guns. What was he supposed to do? He did like you said you would do, put a bullet in their head. And that's what he did, sir. He did what you would do, right?
Nope. You're a fucking goddamn liar. And you know what? What you're saying right now, if you really believe it, man, I got to say this to you. You need to look in the fucking mirror and you need to do some soul searching, man, because you're fucking wrong. And God knows you're wrong. Okay? And your spirit's going to be telling us you're fucking wrong right now. You need to look in the mirror and you need to do some spiritual
your
searching.
logic, sir. That's literally your logic. That's your logic.
It's your logic, Tariq. It's not mine.
That's
You
yours.
made
You
horrible
said you would
logic
do
out
that.
of this.
You said if somebody's coming at you, you're going to pull a bullet in them. And Kyle Rittenhouse was right. These are your words, sir.
You just
So that should be
continue to
applied.
hit the mute
That should
button,
be
man, to
applied
get out
all
what you
across
got
the
to say,
board.
but you don't want to hear what I got to say.
Because
And that's okay.
you said enough. You said enough, and I'm just using your logic. By your logic, if Kyle Rittenhouse is justified, so is Officer Byrd. That's
Your logic is flawed, and your
No, it's
debate is
not,
failed.
sir.
You have
No, it's
completely failed, my friend. I don't
No.
know what you think you've accomplished here, but all you've done is shown everybody on here that your logic is flawed. Your
It's your
debate has
logic, sir. This
failed.
is your
You have
logic.
literally sat here and said,
This is your
okay, and contradicted yourself in so many different ways.
No, I'm going by your logic, sir. You're trying to racialize the
You're
logic.
not. You're going by your logic.
No, because you're trying to have racial privilege. You want to have the racial privilege to kill and put people down, but the other side can't do it. That's called white supremacy. Sir, you're practicing white supremacy on this phone. You know that? That's white supremacy in a nutshell, sir. Officer Byrd had way more justification than Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse did a premeditated murder. He planned on
You
going.
can't even compare the two. It's fucking
Kyle
hypocritical to
Rittenhouse
even say that the two
planned
are
to
the
go
same
out
at
there.
all.
Kyle Rittenhouse planned that. He was sitting up here making videos talking about, man, I wish I had a gun.
Then why didn't they find him guilty?
Because of white supremacy.
Oh, white
That's
supremacy
white
is the answer to
supremacy.
everything
Yeah.
you fucking have, huh?
White
Everything you
supremacy.
have is some.
Yeah, white supremacy, sir. That's called white supremacy. That's how white supremacy works, sir. It lets white supremacist suspects kill with impunity. Right?
Kyle killed white people, but it was
Right. But
racist
it
of what
was
he
white
did.
people who was
He
protecting
killed some
black
white
people.
people because
It was white people protecting black people because Kyle was trying to get black folks, but black people saw what he was trying to do and it didn't work. So he got the next best thing. If you can't get a Negro lover. See, that's why you guys are cool with what he did. But if
keep
you,
on defending child molesters, Tariq.
hey,
It looks good on you, man. It looks real good on you.
Kyle didn't
Look,
know what those
keep on
guys
defending
were.
the pedophiles, Tariq, because that's
Kyle
who he
didn't know
killed.
that. Kyle didn't know that. You don't go
You're
around killing.
defending. You're
Kyle didn't know
defending
that.
child molesters.
Kyle
You're
didn't know
defending a
that.
pedophile. You're
Kyle didn't
defending
know
somebody
that.
that likes to play with kids. Think
Kyle
about that.
didn't
Look
know
in the
that.
mirror, son.
Kyle didn't know that.
It doesn't matter. You
It
know it,
does
and you're
matter.
defending them,
Kyle didn't
and
know
you're
that.
and you're
Kills
saying that you're with
people
them.
and
You're
then
saying
say, "Oh, well, it's justified because we checked their record." No, that's not how the law works. See, boy, you thinking like a white supremacist. You kill them first and then justify it later. No, that's called white supremacy. That's why Officer Byrd, he produced justice.
protecting yourself is white supremacy. Now
Right.
I got it.
And protecting yourself like Officer Byrd did and protecting the Capitol is justice. So why are you so butthurt that justice was produced?
Because Ashley was going after Bird. She was going to attack him physically, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you're sitting up there
You're full
breaking
of shit.
windows
You
with
think
a
she was
light,
going to?
you're sitting there, yeah, she wasn't there to bake cookies, all right? She wasn't there to make some damn Rice Krispie treats, all right? Let's stop playing. And all of this stuff you're talking about, she was
Prove to
looking.
me Ashley Babbitt went there to attack.
Dude, stop it. She wasn't there to have a Girl Scout meeting, all right? Let's be very clear. Let's not sit
She
here.
wasn't there for what you're saying. She wasn't there
That
for what you're saying,
she
Tariq.
wasn't following orders.
And to say that to somebody that's been actually murdered by a cop and then try to claim that you're against police
And
brutality.
sir, she got the Kyle Rittenhouse treatment that you justified. You
It's
said if
hypocritical,
somebody's
man.
coming at
That
you, you said somebody's coming at you, they deserve to get it, and she got it based on your logic. So you are
hypocritical
justified.
logic, my friend. You live in
All right.
hypocrisy. That's your
Yes.
life. That's what you stand for.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm not going to hear white supremacists babble. You see, family, you got to watch those kind of guys. First of all, this guy, White Supremacy 101, the whole denial of whiteness. First of all, I'm not really white, dude. I'm a mutt, man. He's a white dude. That's why I asked him about George Floyd and then the reparations. First he came in talking about he supports reparations. And you let him keep talking, he don't support reparations. It's the sky is falling. Oh, the United States is going to hell. There ain't gonna be no money, dude. Oh, it's not feasible. Okay. See, you gotta watch them. They try to come in and act like they're your allies. You gotta watch them. That's why I said, let this guy tell the truth. Do you think George Floyd died of fentanyl? I, it was a combination, dude. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're one of them. See, the white supremacists, they're not unique at all, family. That's why I knew what to ask. Do you think Kyle acted in self-defense? Yeah, you're goddamn right, buddy. Anyone comes after me, they're going to get a bullet, dude. Well, so Ashley Babbitt too. No, that's different. She was trying to leave, dude. She got lost. She was going on a tour of the White House and got lost, dude. Boy, the damn white supremacist logic and lies. This fool tried to say Ashley Babbitt was trying to escape, and that was the only way out. Good freaking grief. No, dude, she was looking for the exit, dude. And that Negro shot her, dude. She was there to meet Kamala Harris, dude. Oh, God, you white supremacists are the worst with the lies. I grew up with black people, dude. Okay, John Jackman. Oh, we got a lot of them in here now. Oh, they're coming in here now. John Jackman, what's up, brother? What's up, Mr. Jackman?
What's up, Tariq? Thank you so much for having me on, man. I was yeah, I'm honored. I appreciate it, man. Thanks
Hey,
for letting
listen.
me know.
So, how'd you feel about the conversation we just had with your brethren who just called?
Yeah, I only caught the tail end of it, so I heard it when it just deteriorated. But you know, I heard hypocrisy from his side too. You know, as you mentioned, not seeing you know the Kyle Rittenhouse situation through the same lens. You know, I think you accurately described Ashley Babbitt getting the Kyle Rittenhouse treatment.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
but
if
I
you're
was
going to
more
justify
interested.
Cal, you got to justify Ashley. If you're going to
Right.
justify Cal, you got to justify what happened to Ashley. Shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Officer Byrd is more justified because that he didn't plan on shooting anybody that damn day. That man didn't know that was going to happen. You understand? He was doing his job. Kyle Rittenhouse, that was a punk who did a preemptive murder, man. That's not justice. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I was interested to come up here because I heard your conversation with Haas the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm also you know, I'm a member of the infrared community and the burgeoning American communist movement that we're trying to build, and wanted to get. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on that conversation or reflections on that conversation. I'd be interested to hear. But what you kind of think about the position that Haas articulated in his discussion with you, and kind of where we see the issue of foundational Black Americans, you know, as core, central, you know, the one of the main engines of revolutionary struggle in the history of this country, but how we can kind of move forward on a basis of promoting a class struggle and recognizing that the enemies that we have as working people are the same, and how we can utilize some of that revolutionary energy that I know that we have in this country because our politicians are so unpopular, our institutions are
Right.
so
But here,
unpopular. You look at
but
Congress.
hold on. But here's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Because see, race trumps class in our society. So don't no matter what class you're in, race will trump that. And the race is white supremacy. White supremacy trumps all classisms because wealthy black people can get taken down by the poorest white people. And this was something that the white supremacists used to write about. You're supposed to give preferential treatment to the poorest white man over the wealthiest black man. That's why Bill Cosby got taken down by a bunch of broke white women. That's why a Tiger Woods can get taken down by broke white women. You understand? And it can't be done the same. You don't have poor black women taking down wealthy white men, or hell, a poor black woman or a wealthy black woman can't take down a poor white man at all. In fact, there's a case now. This black woman who's on The Bachelorette, she has her a white zaddy, and they're getting divorced. She has to pay him child support. You always see black women who date these white men or marry these white men. They end up having to pay them child support and spousal support. Holly Berry, Aisha Tyler, a lot of these black women, they get ran through the ringer having to pay off a damn white man. It's never the other way around. You don't see white men having to pay black women a damn thing, or a white woman having to pay a black man anything. You understand? So class gets trumped by race all the time in a system of global white supremacy. That's why the communism thing, and I was talking to your guy Haas and breaking that down with communism and Marxism and all of that. We got to look at Karl Marx, talking about Marxism and all of this stuff. But Karl Marx was an anti-black racist. You have anti-black racism in communist countries all over the place. Cuba, there's anti-black racism all through Cuba. The black people are still marginalized in a communist society. So we're still running into white supremacy no matter how you try to cut the cookie. So we got to deal with white supremacy. Anything that's not dealing with white supremacy is basically just running in circles, right?
So yeah, I got you. I think the examples you use are good, and I
Right.
definitely understand them, and I agree with white supremacy being central to how this country was developed and how it's been promoted as a global system. I think that the argument though that I'm making is that the system, the very system of white supremacy emanates from a system of class exploitation that at one point was historically advantageous for the European colonial powers, and that has been propelled, and it goes through modern times. I know that you have more examples that even date back past the history of colonialism for the argument that race trumps class, but the argument that I would say to counter that is that for example, there have been various constitutions that I would cite. One being the Constitution, the Stalin Constitution of the Soviet Union. And then another example could be the Chinese Communist Party, which kind of lays out explicitly an anti-racist credo, or at least a anti-racist conviction in that constitution.
Well,
And
hell,
I think that those were important
let's
to,
slow it down because
yeah. Mhm.
not to cut you off, but hell, our Constitution, everybody's supposed to get equal treatment under the law and all of that. That Constitution on paper is anti-racist, but in practice, our constitutional rights get violated all the time. Again, the George Floyd situation and others, where black people are murdered without due process all the time. Black people are victims of stop and frisk. That's a violation of the Constitution. We don't get equal protection. Black people get harmed and harassed. We don't have a hate crime bill. People can do all types of stuff to black people, and we don't get the same protection under the law that other people get. So on paper, it looks good, but in practice, it's a different thing. Again, race trumps class. For example, the Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's a bunch of wealthy black people living prosperously in a wealthy class, but poor whites and rich whites and the white government all got together to destroy the Black Wall Street. So race trumps class all the time. Huh?
Right. Yeah. And so I understand the point that you're making, but I think that I still see race kind of encompassing a tool, basically, of class exploitation that can take precedence. It can be, now I'm not trying to minimize it in any way. I'm trying to say it can be at the height, of the social order. It can be one of the most preeminent pieces of the social order. And just to kind
Yeah.
of go back to the point about the Constitution, if I may, just very quickly,
Yeah. Yeah.
one of the differences between the American Constitution and the constitutions of the Soviet Union or the Chinese Communist Party was this explicit mention of racism as something that must be struggled against. And so, while on one hand, I hear what you're saying, I also think that race has proved to be an invaluable tool at breaking up other forms of power which could emerge to challenge this global system of financial capital, which has obviously roots in European colonialism and is now today expressed in America financial capital. And I get your point about Black Wall Street too, and know that there were cases where, and there have been numerous cases where rich black people aren't afforded the same rights or the same kind of benefit of the doubt or a recognition, even as poor whites. But I think my point is that even that is a form of protecting a system, a class system, if you will, based on protecting the way that the financial institutions, the financial oligarchy, has been set up to operate from time immemorial. And so I, I don't know if I'm kind of trying to thread the needle there, but recognizing that race is one of the primary instruments of class exploitation, but still kind of seeing it through that lens.
Then you would have to point to a place where black people who are in a financially independent position, where are they not attacked by the white supremacists? You would have to show any example of that where black people have been prosperous and they have not been attacked or sabotaged by the white supremacists. Where can you show that?
Yeah, so I mean that's a great point. And when you ask that question, my mind immediately goes to people like, and I know this isn't a perfect example, so I'm not meaning to suggest that it is, but my mind goes to people like Paul Robeson, right, who once described the Soviet Union kind of in the 1950s, I believe, as a black mecca, and he had a very different experience than his experience in the United States of America, at least at that time, where he felt, he wrote about this extensively, where he felt that he was seen as a human being for, the first time really ever in his life. And so I do think that we give a little
No,
consideration.
because see what it is, because not too many black people were in Russia. So he was an anomaly. He was an international star. He was blacklisted here, and Russia was beefing with the United States. You have the Cold War and all that stuff going on. So a lot of these countries know how to use propaganda to stick it to the United States from that perspective. So they knew getting Paul Robeson and treating him with dignity would be a black eye to the United States. So they were being tactful with how they were doing. So we got to understand how certain groups will use black celebrities and prop them up and say, hey, look at this guy. This is our guy. He's such a wonderful guy. And they'll use that as a form of propaganda to show the hypocrisy of the United States. A lot of Asian countries will do that as well. A
But do you
lot of
think there's any?
and a lot of Middle Eastern countries will do that as well too. For example, when Iran, they had those hostages in 1979. Um, Iran let the black hostages go and just kept the white ones. And they did that to say, hey, look, the United States, you guys talk about democracy and fairness. We treat black people better than you do. So that was to stick it to the United States from a propaganda perspective. So we got to really put everything in the right context. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, but I was just going to ask if you do see any, or if you have the recognition that there is any fundamental difference in these two kind of, well, I don't want to say two competing systems, because now we're kind of living in an era of emerging multipolarity where there's different civilizational interests at play in the geopolitical uh, world. But if you think that there's any fundamental difference between, say, the systems that have been promoted by the Chinese Communist Party and how they might differ, at least in how they handle the question of race compared to the legacy of the West, because that's really where I see the main thrust of this kind of racial supremacy emanating from is the domination of Western financial capitalists and oligarchs in particular.
The thing is, China, they still got a lot of racism, anti-black racism going on over there. Some of the images that come out of some of their animations and some of their commercials and things like that, we've seen a lot of anti-black racism coming out of China and different parts of Asia. But yeah, just because China um, is a communist country, that doesn't mean they still don't promote anti-black racism, because we've seen several examples of that and from other communist nations. So again, we got to show a working example of some of society that's not practicing anti-black racism, and all of them do. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of my points kind of in favor of China again, because I do think that it's a important example to consider, as it's kind of the alternative system that's emerging from the system of Western expropriation and exploitation of the global South, is maybe their relations with African nations being an example, where you don't have the same level of high interest rates in terms of the loans and the development that the Chinese are assisting with African nations, and also the orientation, for example, of these nations in the Sahel looking more toward countries like Russia or China, who were not involved in the imperialist division of Africa, as better partners for supporting their genuine sovereignty and their
Oh Lord, no, sir. Over when the Chinese are over there in Africa, they're exploiting Africa. They're not sharing the wealth. They'll build some roads and a couple of statues here, there. They'll build a museum, but then they'll take all of the mineral wealth, the resources, the diamonds, the gold, and in some places they're trying to take over the trade routes they're taking over the airports in certain areas. So it's a very exploitive relationship. And there's places over in Africa that the Chinese are setting up that the black people are not even allowed to go to. They have restaurants and bars and hotels that the Chinese they're building over there, and the local natives can't even go there. So it's very exploitive over there. And we got to remember when they had COVID, when COVID was popping off over in China, a lot of people forget how cruelly they were treating the African people over there in China. They were very discriminatory towards the African people. They were forcing quarantines on the African people. They were doing a lot of real weird stuff over there. And again, you go over to some of the Chinese over in Africa, you see them beating on people and a lot of weird stuff going on over there. So yeah, that's not a great example of some type of utopia society under a communist system. Again, these people practice the same anti-black racism. So again, anti-black racism is something that we have to tackle and look at. But anyway, but let me get some more. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
John.
thank you, Tariq. I really appreciate it.
All right. Because I don't want to hear, because then it gets into a little babbling type of thing. Yeah, these people from these communist nations, they still practice anti-black racism. That's what it is. So you can't show me an example of one of these places where they're not practicing anti-black racism. Just show it. Hey, Corey, let's get Corey in here.
Hey, how's it going? I wanted to just jump back to the Jan 6 stuff, if that's okay, unless we're moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in spaces before with the general. He lies like crazy.
I see.
Yeah, and I posted some of the receipts down, in the bubble there. I wasn't going to throw them up in the nest unless that's cool. But one of them was eyewitness testimony of a guy who was there right next to her when she was shot, saying that police were verbally warning her, and that she didn't heed the call when she, went through the window.
Yep.
Another thing I wanted to say, she entered the building through a broken window, with alarms blaring at that entrance. And then, a funny thing, I know the general, I've heard him talking on spaces for a long time. His buddy was Lucas Denny, who violently assaulted police that day and was sentenced to, 52 months in prison after he pled guilty. And I just wish I would have been able to ask him while he was there, like, does he think that Lucas Denny should have gotten the Rittenhouse treatment? Because like I asked him one time, what he thought of the violent assaults against police by his buddy Lucas Denny, and he claimed that they were photoshopped. The pictures weren't real.
Lord,
right?
This guy.
So he's definitely a special case.
I see. Yeah. So his lies are not unique. So yeah, he's a known liar. I can imagine. Oh, he's here. Hold on. Wait, he's here. Let me get him. Hold on. Let's get him up. He's back. General, are you saying that your boy was photoshopped, General?
He's all up for the extermination of anybody that doesn't think like him. And Corey, you can go for yourself, man. I'll meet you face to face any day of the week. You're a little punk ass little fucking
General.
And anytime you ever want to meet face to face and have a talk, let's do that. Okay, I'm up for that. You little fucking punk bitch.
You blocked
fucking
me, right?
punk ass little bitch.
I'm down to talk all the time, man. But you blocked me,
I didn't block you. I don't have you blocked. I'll meet you face to face. You can little prick.
General, watch your
language. What are you talking about? Meet up with me, dude. Let's have a face to face debate. You want to talk shit? Okay, do it to my fucking face if you want to. You're not going to because you're a fucking little leftist,
General, watch your language.
And you got no fucking balls. You're a fucking punk.
General, watch your language. General, you're not at a honky tonk. Let's watch your language, General. We got young people here. Can you have some decorum? Can you calm down? All right, General, just speak without the. All right, I know you're passionate, but let's watch the language, General. All right, can we do that, General? General
might have been the double mute.
Okay, all right, General. All right, we're not going to threaten people, General.
I'm not threatening. I'm saying that I'll meet any punk little bitch that wants to talk face to face. I'm more than willing to meet with you, Corey, face to face. I know that you're not willing to do that because you're a little sackless, okay? And that's just the way it is, okay? That's the way you're going to live the rest of your life, and that's who you're going to be. And that's
I just want to point out. I just screenshotted you. You have me blocked. I don't know why you're lying again.
Oh goodness, yeah, his language. I had to get him off the
Oh yeah,
language.
so I mean, he does that every time. That's why he blocked me in the first place. I came at him with receipts, and he doesn't like that.
Yeah, because when you bring receipts, he just starts cursing left and right. He just crashes out. So yeah, he hates the truth. I see. But anyway, but thank you, Corey, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely, man. Thanks for having me up.
Yes, indeed. Corey's bringing the receipts on that ass, and General he crashed out.
Hi, I'm Mateo. Do you want to learn about Hidden Heroes? Hidden Heroes from A to Z is a cool book that tells the stories of amazing black heroes you might not know about. You'll meet inventors, you'll meet explorers, and leaders who change the world. It's fun, inspiring, and you can learn so much. Get your copy now at hiddenhistorymuseum.com. Let's discover our hidden heroes together.